Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of Frail Conversations. Today, I want to talk about um, the levels of men and the levels that we operate from, and not in the sense of like men as a whole, but the whole male being. You feel what I'm saying? I want to talk about that because, like, over the years, you know what I mean? We're never allowed to really sit at the level we're supposed to be at. We're pushed to operate from the level above while never actually maturing at that level, which makes us skip levels type shit. So it's like we're never where we're supposed to be as far as our just connection. And it comes from, us as boys. Constantly being in a state of having to, mature to the next level, being encouraged to mature to the next level. I know motherfuckers get older and it seems like the shit went out the window, but it's more of a, it seems like it goes out the window, but it's more of a deeper context to it because it's like every level we're supposed to, go forward, go to the next level. Like what I mean by that is this, like, when we're boys, be young men, young men, be grown men be, elders and shit like that. Everything is about being at that next level, always trying to find something at the next level and not developing on the plateau that you're on, or not developing in the space or the vein that you're supposed to be. You feel what I'm saying? And that starts as a kid. You feel what I'm saying? And it starts as simple as, not being able to cry, or not, fully feeling our feelings and our emotions, and always being, be a big boy. I'm a little boy right now. I mean, let me be a little boy first. You know what I'm saying? And then you become a big boy. Now you're a young man. Damn, I didn't have a time to be a big boy. Like, the fuck? Like, I still like my Power Wheels, bro. Like, the fuck? Like, come on, chill out. You know, then you become, the young man, the shit. Then it's like, yo, you a man now. Damn, I couldn't even be a young man. Like, let me relax a little bit. Let me learn how to be this level. You feel what I'm saying? And I noticed that that's what happens a lot of times within us, just as men, and it causes deficits because when you don't fully mature something, you don't fully develop something at the right level and the right capacity it's supposed to be. You just kind of go forward. It's almost like when you're in school, and that's why the No Child Left Behind act was such bullshit, because it's like, No Child Left Behind, all they doing was passing people who was failing. So like, even if you don't get the information right, you don't get the content, you don't get what you're supposed to get, and you just go forward. Like, shit's supposed to build on each other. So what happens when, you feel me, you trying to take a calculus class and you didn't, build on, arithmetic? You feel me? Like, how do you take an advanced writing class when you never known how to put the letters together? Now, I'm not saying it's as simple as that or even as complex as that, but it's a piece of reality that happens to us as men. You feel what I'm saying? Always push forward to the next level, but it's hard to stay. And then that's like, and it's a duality, because it's like when we have those male role models, it's always like, yo, strive to be to the next level. But when the role models are gone, it's stay on this level as long as possible. Stay on the lowest level as long as possible. So where's the balance in it? Where's the medium in the development of stay here, develop here, and then grow? You feel me? It's always, okay, you're here, go to the next stage. You're supposed to be on the next stage by now. It's like, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? Like, the fuck, like, and these are little things that affect us. These are little things that happen to us as we get older, and it develops us. And these are just some of the levels that we have. But before I dive heavy into it, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_seen_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all who tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the description of the podcast. Not the episode, but the podcast itself. Cash App and PayPal are just fine. Also, be sure to share this and subscribe to the channel wherever you at, and share it with your friends and family. You see, I didn't practice that, but I'm trying to put that one in there. But yeah, that's that for this, and that's this for that. So when we come back, we're going to dive into So Frail Conversations, the levels of the man. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Seen about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. All right, welcome back. Without further ado, we're gonna get started. Yeah, this episode, it came about because, I got nephews and shit. And then I look at just certain dynamics and shit. And I look at them and I'm like, yeah, these motherfuckers get to be a kid. Like, I be jealous. You feel me? And it's the good jealous. Don't get me wrong. It's the good jealous, because, my brother's there. Like, he's there to allow them to be the kids. But, unfortunately, me and him didn't necessarily have that. We had to develop faster than we were supposed to. We had to operate on levels faster than we were supposed to. And we shouldn't have. And I'm looking at a grander scale of things like that because then I look at the people, some of the homies I went to high school with, some of the homies, that are good, like those who had father figures, those who didn't. And there's like, in certain regards, there's capacities that are there, capacities that are gone. And, it's like, but there's a core common thing that I've learned to see is that like, as men, there's always that next level. You feel me? And it gives us like an insatiable appetite for growth. If we're actually striving to it. This ain't for those motherfuckers who, but like there's an insatiable appetite that we have to always go to the next level. You feel what I'm saying? And there's not much enjoyment in the level that we're in because of the way, I guess society structures us and the way that we're conditioned into, just always develop. And like I said, what I mean by that is like from a kid, like, let's say you're, I'll start off at the infant level, you're a toddler, you're walking and shit. You're literally a toddler, but you got to be a big boy. And I think the shit starts there. You feel me? Now, this is no, you know what I mean? Because this is how you have the other side of it. This is not a, don't promote the progress. You feel me? Because that's what happens on the other side with, the boys who are raised to, they're quote unquote babied. You feel me? It's like, oh, stop babying him. He's just like, nah, it's like there's a balance that has to happen. You feel me? There's a homeostasis that has to happen in between that developmental phase where he has to transition into the big boy, but still accept that he's the toddler. Still learn what it is to be a toddler and still develop on that level. There's not a common ground in between that. And those developmental milestones we miss. And I'm not trying to speak from early childhood development, those type shit like that. Like, but I'm just speaking on just the general conceptualization of, okay, you're a big boy now. If you fall, you're not hurt. You're just like that shit puts a psychological cap on you. You feel me? Because you feel what you feel, but somebody that you trust or somebody that you look up to told you that you don't really feel it. Or told you that you're all right. Like they psyched your mind out and you're like, I'm not all right. Like, what does that do to you? If I fall and scrape my knee and I cry and somebody says, you all right? Bitch, no, I'm not. I just fell and scraped my knee. I'm hurt. Like, you feel me? And then it gets to where we internalize that for ourselves. Like, imagine, like, I remember this was an accident. My nigga ain't really do this shit to me on purpose. We was fixing our bikes and shit. And I was at my homie crib and, he had this little socket wrench and he was throwing the socket wrench into the shed. And I just happened to be in line at the motherfucker, right? And the bitch just hit me. Boom. Straight in the motherfucking middle of the forehead, dog. Like, Because the way he threw it straight, but somehow it was just the angle, like the shit just hit me right in the middle of the forehead, right? And I was like, damn, like instantly, right? I had a little gash, the shit opened up. It was, bleeding a little bit, but instantly a knot formed, a fucking knot. This shit hurt so fucking bad, but it was a knot. Like that's how hard I got hit that the knot formed, right? And he was like, shit, bro, my bad, my bad. He said, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm good. Mind you, I'm halfway concussed. I'm halfway concussed. Like this shit had me dizzy than a motherfucker, but I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm good. I was like, nah, it ain't hurt. I'm good. Nigga, that shit hurt so fucking bad. Like I ended up having to go. I didn't have to go to the hospital or anything, but my homie, his mama was a nurse or whatnot. She said, boy, you need to stay up and walk around because it looks like it could be a concussion. I was like, what? She was like, do not go to sleep anytime soon. I was like, man, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm not going to sleep. She said, just keep walking around, keep moving, put some ice on it and let it go down because it looks like it could be a concussion. I said, damn. But everybody was like, nigga, bruh, that shit, like, you good? I was like, yeah, man, I'm good, man. It ain't that bad. It was that bad. I got knotted the fuck out. I had a whole big ass golf ball knot on the side, on the front of my, like, in the middle of my forehead, right? And mind you, I was a teenager. I had to be like 13, 14 maybe. But nonetheless, I was, oh my man, that shit didn't hurt. Nigga, that shit hurt. That shit hurt like a motherfucker. And we do that to ourselves and we do that to our boys. We never allow ourselves to operate. Now, as our average 13 or 14-year-old kid, it would have been okay to cry for that. It would have been okay to, nigga, I'm hurt. This shit hurts so bad. Give me some ice. Like, nah, I fought back everything because it was like, I'm good, bro. I wasn't good. But like I said, that creates a reality of the different things that we as men have to internalize at such a young age. You feel me? Physical pain is one thing, but then we transition into all levels of pain. And I'm thinking that this is the way this episode is supposed to be developing. In all levels of pain, we're good. Like, we don't talk like, how do you be a big boy for spiritual pain? How do you be a big boy for mental pain? How do you be a big boy for emotional pain? We only know how to be big boys for physical pain, but we tie it to everything because, like, in that level, see, the beautiful one, it's a lot of beautiful things about children, but one of the beautiful things about children is they're already open and they're connected mentally, physically, and spiritually. We don't know that. We think because as time develops us, we separate physically, mentally, and spiritually. You feel what I'm saying? Those three bodies of ourselves, those three pieces of ourselves begin to slowly become different extensions. Our mind becomes one thing, our soul becomes another thing, and our body becomes something else. They're not in synergy anymore. Children don't have that. For a child, it's all one being. So they're not seeing different aspects of pain. They're not associating, okay, this is a physical pain. Okay, this is a mental pain. Okay, this is an emotional pain. I just respond to pain the same way. This is why I always say, this is why I talk about how there's only two emotions, but there's a plethora of feelings, and the only two emotions are joy and pain. The responses to those two emotions, joy and pain, are laughter and crying, respectively. Those are releases from the soul. Laughter and crying are how you release from your soul. You feel what I'm saying? It's amazing. Like, this is why when things are joyous to us, or when we have a positive feeling experience, like, we laugh at it, laughter and smiling, right? But crying and frowning is the antithesis to that. You're either gonna frown or you're gonna cry. Like, that's when, like, those are the bird, like, that's how the soul releases itself. But we don't know the differentiation in that. And as developing as boys, it's like, we're gonna cry when we get hurt. But it's like, the physical pain is the first response to let you know, okay, bam, something has happened to me. Now let me release it. Now let me know how to process it. But when you start feeling physical pain, you be like, nah, I'm good. What does it do? Physical pain forces you to your eyes well up. But now you're trying to fight back tears. So you've been doing that for so long that when a mental pain hits, you do the same thing. When an emotional pain hits, you do the same thing. When a spiritual pain hits, you do the same thing. But those pains are so much deeper. Those pains are so much deeper, and we're not able to fully process them. So now we're like, I'll be all right. You're not. You didn't fall off your bike. You were betrayed. You feel what I'm saying? You didn't fall off your bike. You know what I mean? Like you didn't. I don't know what else we did as kids. Like, but you feel me? I mean, I know we did as kids, but it's a lot of other shit. But you know what I'm saying? Different levels to that shit. We've been taught to always operate at the next level, but in that confusion, it's always been based off physical shit. So it's like I said, the toddler has to be the big boy. The big boy has to be the little man or the young man. You feel me? The young man has to automatically be the man, and the man has to be the you feel me? That whatever the next level is above that, like the elder or shit like that. But it's all at it, like it's not in progressive stages, and it's not in developmental stages. It's just suppress and move forward, suppress and move on, and it's fucked with our mental and emotional health. As men, this is why a lot of us are emotionally retarded and emotionally unavailable. And when I say emotionally retarded, I gotta always do this disclaimer. Y'all are gonna get familiar with the term emotionally retarded, especially for Frail 3. Speaking of, with this being Frail conversation, Frail 3 is in the typing phase right now and should be out soon. But you're gonna get familiar with hearing the term emotionally retarded because we are emotionally retarded. Sometimes we're not emotionally unavailable. We're emotionally retarded because our emotions were stagnant, or they have been diminished in a slight way, or there's some kind of retardation in them, like something is slowing them down. So we talk about mental retardation. That's one thing, but you can have emotional, and some motherfuckers got spiritual retardation, but I don't want to get into that because I don't I don't want to get into that just yet. But every time we are tasked with moving to a certain level or being on a certain level, we don't get to enjoy it. You feel me? Which is a fucked up quandary, because we end up developing into men and hearing the phrase "boys will be boys." Some crazy shit. Like it's almost like a cyclic motion. Like all through our lives, developing is always be the next level, always be this, always be mature, always be this, that, and the third. Then once we become an adult, we go backwards. Somehow the boys will be boys. Nigga, I ain't never been a boy. Like when you really put yourself into the light of it all, we've never been boys at the level of boys we were supposed to be. You dig what I'm saying? Like as black men, we automatically get the talk that we're already viewed as grown men and teenagers. You feel me? We already have this. We supposedly have the responsibility and accountability and the mental capacity to be men at a younger age, far younger age than everybody else. Now, granted, if you know what I know, within the mentality and the development of us as people, we are. This is one of the reasons why, this is a quick tangent, but this is one of the reasons why when our boys or something like that, let's say they commit murder at 13, 14 years old, they'll say, we got to try him as an adult, because he was functional enough to be able to, and we're looking at it like, you wouldn't do that for white kids, or you wouldn't do that for Asian kids. You wouldn't do that for yours. Why are you doing it? Because they are not men at that age. We are. And we're on that because of the way that we develop. We develop significantly faster than people. However, they retard us. You feel me? We become retarded. They stun our growth. And they stun our growth in their education systems and things like that, because you got to really put into context and use logic sometimes. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in following their science that we don't pay attention to what's in their science and shit. Like you'll watch a whole documentary or see a whole account of how melanated babies develop faster than everybody else by weeks, right? So it's like within a week's time or something like that. Within a few hours, the baby can start to look around and recognize, but it takes about, 4 weeks, 6 weeks for Caucasian babies, Asian babies and shit. But it's like, how are we, you know what I'm saying? So if we're developing faster than that on a regular basis for the first 5 years, we're not in school, then it's like, now what do you think happens to our development when we're aligned with people who we develop faster than? We become retarded. Simple. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how you retard something. You take something that is significantly ahead of what it is and you put it down at a level and it eventually normalizes. But they never stopped. They never deviated from the understanding that they knew that, okay, you guys still develop like that. What do you think the whole eugenics thing is about? People think it's just about skin color. It's not. It's not just about skin color. It's not just about the color of the skin. The world doesn't beef with us just because of the color of the skin. You feel what I'm saying? Even when, like, think about this, like, when we look at genetics from that perspective, recessive genetics are the weak stock. How the fuck is the dominant genetics on par and equal to the recessive genetics? It's not. It just doesn't work. Nature doesn't even honor that in any way, shape, or form. You feel me? That's why survival of the fittest. The dominant genetics is going to take over the template. You feel what I mean? So when they have us put in a position to where we have, on all levels, we're dominant. It's mentally, physically, spiritually, like, we're dominant. We think it's just sports. No, nigga, we do it with the mind. We do it with our emotions. We do it with our soul. But somehow they have reduced us down to their cap. We let them. We allowed them to do it. But that was a tangent, because now I'm segueing into how when we in the school systems and shit, this is why our boys drop out 15, 16 years old. They're done. Because it's not fast enough for me. I have retarded myself. And then when you also shift it to how the education system is geared towards toxic femininity as opposed to actual masculinity, we don't learn in those environments. We don't learn in those environments. Like, it just doesn't work. We leave because it's no fun. It's no fun. It's nothing that can develop us. You dig what I mean? Not a single thing that can develop us. And it is in this lack of development that we are also simultaneously being pushed to always operate from the next level. How? Like, what is the next level? You feel me? What is the next level? Like I said, when you're in elementary school, start thinking like they telling you this, I remember, I remember when I was in the 5th grade getting ready to go to middle school, and I was talking some shit, like I was doing something. My teacher said, "That's not gonna fly in middle school," and it flew all the way in middle school. Nigga, you feel me? But I'm saying that to say this, like, well, not like, you feel me? I'm saying that to say this because every phase of life you're in, they always tell you to think about the next level. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we be in middle school, in elementary school, start thinking about, what it's gonna be like when you get in middle school. When you're in middle school, start waiting to see what it's gonna be like when you get to high school. You feel what I'm saying? High school, okay, college. College, you ain't gonna be able to do this in the like, everything they said I wasn't gonna be able to do at the previous level, I did that shit at that level and the next level too. I'm like, y'all some bums, y'all be fucking get out my face. That shit's not gonna work in high school. It works like a motherfucker, like a charm, goddamn. But all of that was to say, segueing it back, everything is about the next level, never the now. So by that, we don't develop right. And we don't develop the levels of the male that we're supposed to be, the levels of the man that we're supposed to be at those times. So it's like, imagine constantly just suiting up, but never developing for the fight. You feel what I'm saying? And always going into the fight. So it's like I said, we'll go in and put it in a perspective of kids is, the little boy. Okay, you're the big boy now. You're those different levels. And then it's like, now we got to watch our peers who have also been programmed for that. And then this is where we get the delineations. And why I always talk about how there's a delineation between masculinity and manliness. This is a lot of times where that shit is developed at, because the masculinity allows us to develop in that space that we're in. Analysis and deconstruction of that time frame, of that pocket. The analysis and deconstruction level of being a little boy. The analysis and deconstruction level of being a big boy. The analysis and deconstruction of being a young man, being a grown man, and so on and so forth. But we become manly in these roles. You're a big boy now. Just don't cry. That's it. Like, really, when you really think about what manliness really is, it's just not crying. Not crying and being tough. The fuck is that? And then a lot of times that facade makes those motherfuckers the weakest ones. You're manly. The fuck does that mean? You feel what I'm saying? And we have made manliness synonymous with a lot with masculinity. You feel me? And it's not. It's not. 'Cause you can still be a feminized manly man. You feel what I'm saying? You could be a toxically feminine manly man. You feel me? Shout out to So Frail too, toxic femininity. But these are the dynamics of how we're developing, and we don't have the time and the plateaus and the practices to develop that full aspect of us. You know what I mean? Like to get to the point of understanding, tears. Like when we growing up, it's like, and I realized that motherfuckers were so emotionally retarded. Like, and I'm looking at my elders that were, the men and everything like that. Why? Oh, don't cry, you bitch. I'm 7. I just got bit by a fucking dog. What you mean, don't cry? You feel what I'm saying? It's like little shit like that. Like, I mean, I'm using an example because I didn't get bit by a dog at 7. I got chased by a motherfucker though when I was like 5. And this was the moment when I stopped being scared. But now we got to pay attention to the communication factor. Babies communicate 2 ways. Now, this is going to tie into what I was talking about earlier about joy and pain, and then the release from the soul being laughter and I'm crying. Babies communicate in 2 ways because they can't talk yet. Think about how a baby communicates. They're either going to laugh or they're going to cry. You dig what I'm saying? They're either going to laugh or they're going to cry in some derivation of that, or they'll smile, or they'll make little they're cute faces. And then when they upset, they make little, you know what I'm saying? But in the core of it, they're either going to laugh or they're going to cry. Now, an in-tune mother, an in-tune parent, I'm not just going to say a mother, an in-tune parent will tell you, okay, my child has different cries. When they're hungry, they cry one way. The child consciously knows, their soul knows to communicate a certain message. I can't speak yet, but I have to communicate this. So I'm going to make this cry associated with this situation. I'm going to make this cry associated with this situation. If you actually listen, they laugh the same way. How can we identify the negative side, but never identify the positive side? And a lot of that is a part of the duality that we miss as people. But I'm not going to get too heavy into that because this is about So Frail conversations. But the fact of the matter is that we know babies, have distinct cries, distinct, separations of how they communicate when they can't talk. Why do we forget that the moment they learn words? Forgetting that they have to make that transition from being able to thoroughly articulate what they're saying to what they're used to doing, crying for this particular reason. And we do it more so with boys. What the hell are you crying for? I'm going to give you something to cry for. Because when I was 6 months old and I got frustrated with something, I cried and you responded to me. Or when I was 4 months old and I got bit by a mosquito and something hurt me, I cried for the communication as to what it was. I cried to get this. When did that transit? Do you think the shit just stopped? You feel what I'm saying? Do you really think the shit just stopped? No, we stop it. Oh, you can talk now. Use your words. I'm still learning these motherfuckers. Let's keep it a buck. I know how to talk, but I don't know what this shit means. I know that if I say this, you respond this way. I ain't looked in the dictionary yet. I have not defined a single motherfucking word. And I think sometimes that's the ignorance of the parent. Like we as adults, we don't look at children as children that are learning the world. We assume that they're supposed to know what we already know that we haven't taught them. Oh, because I'm talking to you. It took you years to learn these words, associate these words, and learn what they mean. These kids are just hearing words and making associations to do and don't. Consequence and action. They don't learn shit. They're not learning anything. So when our boys were once, 4 months old, 5 months old, they weren't even walking yet. They can cry to get the response they need, or they laugh to get the response they need. When they have to communicate something positive, they start to get that. But they don't know these words that they're using. You feel me? They don't know these words. When you ask your child what the definition of a word is when they start talking, they're gonna be like, the fuck is the definition? You feel what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't even know how to read yet. Therefore, I can, you know what I'm saying? All I have to go on is what you're telling me. And I'm that when you say this, it gets this response. So I'm gonna say it too. And then we get mad when they repeat us. That's the only way they know how to communicate outside of crying. outside of crying and laughing. You feel what I'm saying? But our boys, that communicative factor has to stop. Think about that. Take a moment with that. When's the last time you let your son cry? And it's not no, like I said, always teach what you're crying for. And the reason why you have to teach what you're crying, teach them to articulate what you're crying for, because a lot of the tears are frustration. A lot of tears ain't really hurt. It's the response that I once had when I was a baby, bro. That was my first form of communication, was to cry. I need my diaper change. Oh, they need a diaper change. I'm hungry. They cry differently. You feel what I'm saying? Associated to what the connection is on how they have to communicate. Those are the only responses to how their soul has to communicate. And when does that shit stop? It doesn't. Those are still forms of communication. But when you shut it down, you no longer know how to articulate that communication. The communication factor was supposed to be, okay, now I'm crying. Now tell me what you're crying for. You feel what I'm saying? Now tell me, like, we want to be nosy as fuck when somebody laughs, but we never want to be nosy when somebody cries. We tell them to stop crying. Imagine this. I could be sitting down. That happens all the time. I be sitting down, I think about something funny, I just start chuckling. Motherfucker look, what? Nothing. It ain't got nothing to do with you. You feel what I'm saying? You don't tell them, hey, yo, stop laughing. You want to know what's funny. You want to see what they're communicating right now. You want to know what the humor is. But when they cry, yo, stop crying. It'll be okay. Why don't you want to know? You feel me? And then it's worse when we're babies and shit. Keep crying. I'm gonna give you something to cry for. You the reason I'm crying, motherfucker. I already got a reason to cry. You the reason. You feel me? You the reason. Girls are cool. The girls can cry. The girls can, because that's what girls do. So they say. It's not. It's what humans do. Humans do that from birth to communicate their messages. When we learn words, we learn how to articulate that. So now we can release verbally from our soul, but we have to still learn the right words, definitions, and things like that. But when all else fails and we don't have the words for it, we cry. You feel me? From a negative perspective. We cry to communicate the negative side of things. But because it's us as men, this is one of the themes of what I talk about in So Frail. The emotions that are the feelings that we always express are anger, rage, and aggression. Because those are the only three permissible feelings that, people will allow us to have on a, you know what I'm saying, without getting in trouble or anything like that. And those will lead us to cry. Like, men, we can get so angry we cry. We can get so frustrated we cry. You know what I'm saying? Like, we reach that point where it's like, that's when it gets mad. Like, when you finally see a man, it's crazy because when you finally see a man cry, you know that he's reached the anger point that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, what is he crying for? Like, why are you so mad? Like, you know what I'm saying? But these things come from not being able to develop as a child to be able to communicate my feelings. What is happening right now? You feel me? I'm getting frustrated with something. Shut up, quit crying. And we wonder why we got poor communication skills. We wonder why our babies got poor communication skills. We wonder why our sons can't articulate themselves. You feel me? The first form of communication that we ever had, like, people be thinking like the emotionally unavailable man he's also has communication issues, or he's going to be a deceptive liar. One of the two. But why I gotta lie? Because I can't even express my true self. I can't even express my feelings the way that I'm supposed to. Why? Because as a child, because as an infant, because like when we were developing and growing up, always stop crying. That was our first form of communication. So it's always operate from the next level while never developing the level that you're on or the prior level. You feel me? Just cry. Just cry. Like, and then this is what I always say. I encourage the boys to cry. I encourage letting them cry. But I always say too, have a reason. Let them tell you what the reason is they're crying. Learn to articulate what you're crying for. They're not babies anymore. Babies are the only ones who have to cry and have to laugh to communicate without saying any words because they can't. They're learning them. You dig what I'm saying? They're learning them. And so when you're not able to articulate from that perspective, and then let's look at it from a positive perspective. I don't want it to just be like it's dark. When things entertain us and we laugh about them and stuff like this is why a lot of times we don't share, like going back to the thing when I said sometimes I'll laugh and motherfucker be like, what? And want to know, I'm like, nothing. Why? Because you can't share your good with people. Because they be haters. They be mad. You feel me? So when you want to share positive things, you have a positive, like, nah, I just chuckle at it and say nothing. Just you know that I'm amused at something. You feel what I'm saying? Because I can't share in that with you. I can't give you those words. You feel what I'm saying? But those dynamics are parts of the communications. You feel what I'm saying? Laughter and shit like that. We think that shit is soft and certain shit like that. So then we laugh at pain. That becomes a dangerous game. When you start blurring lines, when you're laughing at pain, and like, think about that. Like how I was just expressing how laughter is the joyous release from the soul. You feel what I'm saying? Like rejoicing. You feel me? You have joy that creates euphoric bonds and shit like that. Joy creates euphoria. The transition between joy and euphoria is rejoicing. You feel me? Then you have pain and trauma. You feel what I'm saying? Like mourning is the transition between trauma and pain. You feel what I'm saying? So mourning and rejoicing are opposite sides of the same coin. But where I'm getting at with that is what happens when you blur the lines between rejoicing and mourning. You laugh at your pain. You cry tears of joy. You feel me? We've reached a point now where it's just like, how did we get there? We were always there. We were always there based off of the fact that what was permitted for us to communicate how we feel. And we can't, because I always operate from the next level. You're a big boy now. Like, don't you? Like, you feel me? You can motherfucking fall, snap your leg, and your homies are, you better not cry. Hold it in as long as you can. Hold it in for as long as you can. Why? You got to. Feel me? When I was 11, I got shot in the leg with a BB gun. Right? This motherfucker hit one of my muscles, hit a nerve, and the bitch made me drop. I couldn't walk. Like, in the moment. Like, that's how bad it hit me. Right? And my eye, like, the shit hit instantly. The eyes is welling up and shit. I'm like, I'm trying to, I'm bleeding and shit. Hurt like a motherfucker. I'm more focused on wiping my eyes and making sure the tears don't fall. Niggas like, yo, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Nigga, I just got shot. Like, motherfucker, it was a pump action, 200 of them Daisy pump Jones. You feel what I'm saying? Motherfucker pump that bit. Now you pump it until you motherfucking all your upper shoulder shits. Like, that's how hard that motherfucker pumped that shit and shot me with it. You feel me? And it was like, damn, yo, you good. Like, I'm like, nigga, you shot me. The fuck? That shit hurt. You feel me? But I was more focused on not crying than anything. You feel what I'm saying? On not crying than anything. And that made, they're like, yo, it makes you tough. It doesn't make us tough. It makes us numb. We look at the toughness of and the tenacity of our sons and shit, and us as men that we've developed, and we numb as fuck, bro. We're calloused. We're not tough. We're calloused. We don't like, and I've learned over the years that it's not the absence of emotions and the absence of feelings that make us strong. That make us, it's not the absence that makes us strong. It's the presence and the utilization of them. You feel what I mean? Like I said, we look at how we communicate and articulate the messages of the boys developing and growing up faster, mature, toughen up. We toughen them up only on the physical. Yeah, you get your body used to physical pain. We don't do shit about mental and emotional and spiritual pain because we don't know shit about it. You feel me? We don't know motherfucking thing about that type of pain. And even if we do know about that pain and we are in that vein to connect in that space, what does it do for us? You feel what I'm saying? Because like I said, now it ties back into when we stop doing this. Like I said, we need to take some time to get back to saying the babies are crying. What are they crying for? Oh, they fussy. Oh, they want, okay, cool. When does that stop? Do you think it's just a switch and you turn off? Now you can use words. Don't cry anymore. You don't have to cry anymore because you can talk. Now you still got to release those burdens from the soul. You still want to laugh. You still like these feelings that dwell up within us. Our soul responds to them. Like I said, as we get older, we separate from this energy. The body becomes one total thing. The mind is something totally different, and the soul is something totally different when they're all supposed to be one. Hey, huddle up, broskies, because it's time to elevate. The secret to evolving masculinity is to define it, understand it, then apply it. The So Frail series defines masculinity as the spiritual, mental, and physical embodiment of the essence of analysis and deconstruction. From this definition, I explain how masculinity is not just the hat that we wear, but it's the essence that we must exude through application. If you enjoy the So Frail conversations, why not read the books that inspire them? Visit IamJustSeen.com right now to add the So Frail series to your library to get a better understanding of what masculinity really is. I promise, after reading So Frail, you will never look at masculinity the same again. You feel what I'm saying? They're all supposed to be one. And in that separation, we as men only focus on one, which is the physical body. Our mental, our emotional, our spiritual sides, no. This is why, like, even if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, most men ain't even in that spiritual space. Like, ask a motherfucking deacon or whatever the case may be, or whoever it is, imam or whatever. Ask him who got that motherfucker back in church or back in the mosque. It's a woman. Women are more tied spiritually and inclined and shit like that, but we're spiritual too. We're spiritual beings too, but it's like from a different perspective. Women are synthesis and create. I ain't gonna get into that part because then that deviates from the theme of this one. But the purpose that I'm making is that we have been dissociated and disconnected from our mental and our spiritual. You feel me? Both mental and both spiritual has been dictated by what somebody else told us to do or what somebody else told us is real. And we just took it. And so all we develop is our physical. We leave our mind in the hands of something else. We leave our spiritual in the hands of something else. And then we just focus on our physical, but we focus on shutting down our physical. You feel me? Toughen up. Be as tough as you can be. No, pain is it's not, motherfucking, pain is, strength is pain leaving your body. No, pain ain't supposed to leave your body. Pain's supposed to let you know when you're in danger, motherfucker. And they wonder why, as black men, they like, yo, why are y'all so like, we're dangerous because we don't we don't know how to respond to pain. Therefore, we don't know when we're in danger. Why? Because we've always been articulated to be tough, toughen up. Always, yo, stop crying. No, I'm in pain somewhere. I don't know what the pain is. Maybe physical, maybe mental, but I'm crying until I identify the pain. What are you crying for? Rather than what are you crying for? I'm gonna give you something to cry for. You a big boy. You shouldn't be crying. You'll be all right. No, I have to navigate back into what these tears came from to figure out where that pain is because I'm in danger somewhere, motherfucker. yo. How many of us have been in danger and completely ignored the shit? I know I have. That feeling you get when you about to cry, you're in danger, bro. yo. I'm laughing so hard because it's like growing up where I grew up, there were so many moments that shit happened. I wanted to cry and I couldn't. I was like, bitch, out now. I'm looking like you was in danger, little nigga. You was in danger, and that's why you was so dangerous. Because you're in danger and you don't know it. The fears, the tears is like that's your soul saying, here, bam, here's the release. You feel me? When you're laughing, you're safe. There's safety there. That's why you're able to laugh. Now, when you laughing when you're supposed to be crying, bitch, you crazy. You found safety in danger. Think about that. I know it seems like I was joking about it but yeah, a lot of men, especially a lot of black men, we find safety in danger. You think that's an accident though? You feel me? So now when we look at sports, when we look at the physical, oh yeah, you take you find safety in danger, bro. Like when a motherfucker bump him and shit, it hurt, but it's gonna make me stronger. Cause I'm not in. It's not that I'm no longer in danger. I just adjust to the danger. I find safety in danger. You dig? I find the safety in the danger. Black men in America, black men in the world, we had to find safety in danger. That's all we can do. That's why motherfuckers, oh, you so like, that's why motherfuckers fear us. They created a world that made us safe with being dangerous. Like, you feel me? We're in a world where everybody's attacking us. Everybody wants to be against us. You feel me? Everybody wants to try to eliminate us. They have to. I get it. I get it. But then what happens when you find safety in danger? Oh my gosh. That's why the news, like, they know that they programmed us to be like for this shit. You feel me? Because we assimilated into their culture. And of course, you know, when we assimilate into the barbaric culture, what happens when but then it's like, it gets fucked up because it's like, we're so busy being locked into, and this one, like, shout out to my dark skinned brothers, bro. Shout out to my, like, y'all can't be soft at all, my nigga. Y'all can't be soft at all. Like, y'all can't feel shit, bro. Y'all have to find the absolute amount of safety and the absolute amount of danger. Y'all don't get a pass, bro. And that's fucked up. You feel me? That's fucked up. And off the other side of that, you feel what I'm saying? To my light skinned brothers, you feel what I'm saying? Y'all have the quote unquote luxury, but it makes you feel a certain way, you know. And I'm not, this ain't no shot or anything like that, but it's like, y'all don't have to find safety in danger. You feel what I'm saying? So the safety and the danger that you have is undermined. Like, real shit. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, yo. I ain't never met a pussy light skinned dude. I get the whole, you feel what I'm saying? I get the whole, like, where I grew up, one of my right hand man, he light skinned, he won't no bitch. Like, I ain't never met a soft light skinned dude. And I get it, the thing, oh, dudes acting light skinned, they did like, yeah. I ain't never met a soft light skinned dude. You feel me? I ain't never met a soft light skinned dude. So it's like, for me, I'm seeing that, like, that creates that stigma. You feel me? My dark skinned brothers and shit, like, they got it rough. Like, they gotta be dangerous. You feel me? Could be the most gentle motherfucker you ever meet. But that stigma's already there. Because look at how the society has perpetuated shit. You feel me? Oh, you dark skinned, so you find safety in danger. Bitch, I'm human. Oh, you light skinned, so you don't even come towards danger. Shit. Fuck. That, my light skinned homie was one of the initiators of all the danger we got in. The fuck? I love that dude, man. Shit. I love that man, bro. That's my homie. But yeah, it's crazy as fuck to see that shit. You feel me? But when I look at my homie who was light skinned and he was like that, it wasn't because he was light skinned that we toughened him up. It's just because he was younger than us. You feel me? It was because he was younger than us. And it was like, yo, bro, you can't be no bitch out here. And he was like, dog, I'm not a bitch. You know what I'm saying? I just don't want to fuck with y'all because y'all my homies. I don't feel like I should do that to my homies. So I will slap box with them, put on boxing gloves and box and shit. Like, you feel me? Just to keep them right. But it was just making them tough. Like, we was making them a heartless creature. You feel me? Because we were made to be heartless creatures. You feel me? We were made to be safe in danger, my nigga. Damn. And as I'm unpacking this episode, it's more so like, if you look at how operate from the next level of the board and everything like that, development, everything is about making sure you can be safe in danger, but be now in more danger. What more danger can I be in as a black man? Like, really sit and ask that question. I look on the news, like, I'm beefing collectively. I'm beefing with people who look like me, and I'm beefing with everybody who don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a gentle giant. You feel me? I'm a gentle giant. But I give off a persona like people think I'm very mean. If you seen me in person and shit and just in my normal state, you'll think I'm angry. You think I want to fight. Or you think I'm very dangerous. You think I'm in it. Like, I learned how to be safe in danger. You feel me? I was in undergrad and I used to leave my dorm and, go over to the apartments and shit with Parlay and them. Nah, shout out to Desi Banks. But nah, I used to leave because they had campus apartments and then they had the dorm rooms. Like the apartments were for the upper class. I want to stay in the apartments and shit. It's all trash. But you feel what I'm saying? So we had the apartments or whatever. And I would go over there, kicking with homies and shit. You feel me? Late night creeps and shit. And whenever I would go, you know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, yo, be careful, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I'm good. Ain't nothing gonna fuck with me, bro. Like, nah, you never know. Yo, you never know. You don't know why I am this way and how I know how to pay attention to my surroundings. So I was going over there one day and I had, creeped up and then, cause I was an RA too, but I was off this night. And so I went to the office and shit, seen my team or whatever. And I was like, yo, they were like, up there you go with that all black on, you know where he going. And I was like, yo, shut up. So I leave out. So then I come back, I was about to go. So then I was sitting down, talking to him. They was like, let me ask you something. They was like, yo, you need to be careful just walking around by yourself like that. I was like, what I got on? They was like, I mean, you got on all black. I said, exactly. What I look like? They're like, what you mean? I said, I look like I'm about to rob somebody, right? They was like, yeah. I said, all right then. If I look like I'm about to rob somebody and somebody else is about to rob somebody, we ain't gonna rob each other. I'm good. It was like, that makes sense. I know because it's called street smarts. If I look like the motherfuckers committing the crimes, the motherfuckers committing the crimes ain't gonna fuck with me because I'm not a lick. But at the same time, I protected myself. Now I have to worry about that being a suspect on the other sides of that. You feel me? Because when we got the little Clary reports that something happened, it was blackmail. Like when we were reading them, we was like checking off, okay, is it gonna be me this time? It's like, yo, blackmail. Anytime they said dreads, I was good. You feel me? Blackmail between 5'10 and 6'2", 180 pounds, up to in blackmail between 5'11 and 6'2", all black with between 160 to 180 pounds. Nigga. On a college campus, bro. On an HBCU campus, nigga. That's all of us. The defining factor was the hair. Oh, dreads. Phew, not me. They're not gonna be looking for me. But when they said that, it was like, damn, that makes so much sense. I said, yeah, y'all remember that? Because we had a dude that got robbed. You feel me? We had a dude that got robbed on campus because this shorty called him over to the dorm and she set him up. I said, damn, nigga, I knew, like, when I got to college, it was like, and these are one of the things that, like, I'm gonna finish the story, but these are one of the things that people be like, some niggas is tough. Like, no, you know who's who. When you found safety and danger, you know who's who and you know it's what. Like, you don't gotta bark. You know the biters. You know the grand champs. You don't need to worry about the barker. So it's like, so the bull was like, you feel me? He go to shorty and it's like she set him up. And they like, yo, bro, he got hit in the chest with a tire iron and robbed for $400 and his shoes. I said, at 1 o'clock in the morning? Nigga, only thing open after 1 o'clock in the morning is legs and fast food. Why the fuck what are you dressed up for? You feel me? And he got robbed for $400. Why do you have $400 on you at 1 o'clock in the morning? That's a lick, bro. You a lick. Like, you feel me? You don't know how to find safety in danger. You don't even know how to operate in danger. You feel what I'm saying? And those are some of the things that are taught to us at a young age. And so I'm saying that because when we look at how the psyche starts to develop, it's always that next level. But what about when that next level is that there's no enjoying that? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no enjoying the next level because I have not matured. I have not developed what I was supposed to at the previous level. You feel what I'm saying? Like, every level was about move up to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. Like, nah, sit here and be here. The things that bring me to tears. The things that could bring me to tears, I need to sit with them so I can figure out why I cry. Like, because there's a learning lesson there. There's an association there. There's something I'm supposed to gather out of that. Why I'm crying? Oh no, I'm gonna give you some. You know what I'm saying? Like, I be hearing how adults will tell a kid, "What are you crying for?" And the kid's first response is, and the boy's first response is, "Stop crying." Just think about yourself. Think about how many times as a kid you heard, "What are you crying for?" And you never answered what you were crying for. You just tried to stop crying. Did you actually process what you were crying for? Now, imagine this. This is just to show the mental deficit between the transition from actually being a child to being an adult or being whatever. Think about this. If your baby just started crying right now, would you look at that little motherfucker and say, "What are you crying for?" Some people do, because after a while you feed them, you change them, and they still cry. You don't know what it is. You ask them, but they still gonna cry. Figure it out. You feel what I'm saying? We don't have that frustration to say, "I'm gonna give you something to cry for," or "Fix your face." It's not my face that needs to be fixed. It's my feelings. It's not my face that needs to be fixed. It's my feelings. It's the space that I'm in right now, and I am not allowed to be there. Why am I not allowed to be there? Because I got to be on the next level. Oh, you're a big boy now. Man up. Bitch, I'm 8. Funniest shit ever, bro. This example comes from the Boondocks, right? So Riley and Gangstalicious, Gangstalicious. Riley and Gangstalicious is running from some niggas trying to kill Gangstalicious and shit, right? Riley like, "Yo, niggas coming," and then they running this shit, they crying. Gangstalicious dropped the gun. So Riley, he's like, "Yo, Gangstalicious, how you drop the gun? That's not gangster, Gangstalicious. That is very not gangster." He said, "Man, you was screaming and shit." He said, "You was a fraud." And he was like, "Riley, you scared too?" He said, "Nigga, I'm 8." The shit had me bugging, because outside of that toughness, like this, I'm using this to tie into the episode, because outside of that toughness Riley had, his little gangster shit, like it brought back to reality. Like, nigga, he is only an 8-year-old kid. He's supposed to be scared of some shit like that. Like, bullets is flying, niggas are shooting at him and shit like that. He's supposed to be scared of that. He's not, at 8 years old, he's not supposed to have safety and danger. And if he is, he's supposed to only have safety and the danger that is for his level. You feel what I mean? But tying it back into the crying thing, any of us ask what we're crying for, we fix our face. That's never been the reason what we had to fix. We had to fix the problem that led to that. This is why we emotionally retarded. This is why we emotionally unavailable, simply because now this is why I'm an advocate of crying. Not in the sense of crying for nothing, my nigga. Don't just go watch don't watch The Notebook and start crying. No, nigga, no. That's, you know what I'm saying? But when certain things trigger, like, figure out what it is that you're crying for. You feel me? There's a level of frustration that men have that crying would release, but rather than, because we hold it in, we actually raise that threshold to how much stress we can take. You feel what I mean? Cry, my guy. If you gotta cry in the dark, do what you do, but crying in the sense of start to release, so you can start to more, like, in order to grieve, there's 5 phases of grief. You know what I mean? What is it? Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance, right? But before you can grieve, you gotta mourn. Mourning is the release of the pain from the soul. We don't mourn, my nigga. Therefore, we don't grieve about shit. We don't. Because we've never been able to. We've never been able to. And it was just like a switch. It's like, yo, you brand new on me now, bro. I can't cry. I can't cry at all. You feel me? Now, mind you, now we get into spaces where you see motherfuckers take major hits on the football field. Nigga, that was a 350-pound linebacker hit you. He ain't gonna cry. His physical body is conditioned and in tuned enough not to actually feel pain anymore. But is that the same for his mental? Is that the same for his spiritual? No, it's not. But when he feels those tears, he treats it like his physical body. We treat it like our physical body. You feel what I mean? So we don't cry in the sense of seeking to understand what the hell we crying for. It's fix your face. It's not my face that's upset. It's my feelings. It's just manifesting through my face and my tears. It's my feelings. Yo, you keep crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry for. You the reason I'm crying. You the reason you already gave me something to cry for. You the reason I'm crying. But at the end of the day, it never stops. You feel me? One of my friends, she just asked me the other day. We was talking. She was like, "Yo, when the last time you cried?" And I was like cry, or like shed a tear, cry. You know what I'm saying? And she was asking me that to see like, am I in tune with my emotions? I'm like, yeah, I'm in tune with my emotion, but I'm still conditioned not to cry. I will vocalize and express myself on how I feel. So there's less days when I feel like crying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be man enough to admit it. I feel like crying sometimes. Some of y'all niggas need to start admitting that y'all feel like crying. Y'all feel hurt, betrayed. You feel me? Y'all feel like crying and won't cry. Won't cry. I remember when I got cheated on and I got my heart broken and shit. Man, it was like literally the second day after, some shit like that. Or nah, it was the first day of the session, summer session and shit. And like my homeboy, he was there and I was eating breakfast and he came in and I'm trying to keep it composed. You know what I'm saying? Fake like I'm good. So I'm dapping him up. Shit was good, bro. He asked me how my girl was. And I was like, oh, we ain't together no more. And he was like, oh, she moved on. Man, I almost cried right there. I was like, nah, bro, don't you shed no tear. I was like, yeah. And then look, when he went to go get his food and shit, I held it in and I just kind of like sucked the tears back in. Like that's how it was. Would I do that shit now? Hell nah, I cry. If something like that, if something of that magnitude happened to me again, I'd cry. I ain't even gonna hold you, bro. I'd cry. Fuck y'all. I'd cry. You feel me? Because that frustration, that anger, like that help, that like it's gonna help to grieve. You feel me? I grieved that shit without the tears because I never mourned. I skipped the mourning and went straight into the grieving. My grieving process was writing. I transmuted it because I knew I couldn't cry. I didn't want to because I better not cry over this chick, man. I should have. But instead, what I did was I wrote a whole album, music, like a whole. I produced all of the beats and everything. I wrote a whole album to cry, like from beginning to end. It's like it's crazy how I wrote it because from beginning to end, I started crying. Like I wasn't physically crying, but I can see. You know how like that good cry you have when you actually mourn and shit, and then when everything is out, you feel good. It feel like a rain. When summertime hit and it get real hot and that thunderstorm happened and it's like, bam, the rain hit. But then when you go outside after that rain, it's like the energy's lifted off the world. That's what that shit felt like. But as men, we don't have the outlets to do that. Our outlets are physical shit. Go physically damage yourself. Go lift weights and go work out and shit. Push up. Don't release the issue. Don't address the issue. And these are because you have to cry or laugh. You feel me? Like I said, you have to release something from the soul. It's one of those two. You feel what I'm saying? And as the levels for our boys are always, bam. And I think it's a skip. The moment we learn to talk, we can't cry no more. You know that? Take a moment to sit with that. The moment we as men learn how to talk, we can't cry anymore. Somehow the shit just stops. It's like, nigga, stop crying. Yeah, matter of fact, sometimes it's even before we talk. When we learn how to walk, that's when we're shut down from actually crying again. Be tough. Then you wonder why your kid becomes violent. You wonder why your kid becomes violent. Because they're having to communicate frustrations. They're having to communicate these things. And your response to their frustrations is a whooping. It's to beat them. Oh, you're not listening to me. You're not this, that, and the third. They're ignoring you because they have something that they want to say that you're not listening to. Now, when I was a baby and I cried and I got hungry, you gave me my bottle. When I was a baby and I cried and I got upset, you picked me up and helped me. You listened to me. When I was a baby and I cried, now I'm crying and you ignore me. Now you're telling me I'm good. You made me this way. You made me the monster that you love to hate and that you hate to love. Because you stop it. You just cut it off. As soon as the little motherfucker learn how to walk and you can fall a little bit, it's like, oh, like you fall as a baby. You think, okay, They don't necessarily do this to the girls, but don't look at them. If you look at them, if we fall and shit, like if you look at him, he gonna cry. Duh. And then it's like we look, I'm like, oh, so okay. Let's look at it from a perspective based off of everything that I just said. Let's look at it from a perspective of a child who can acknowledge. I may not be able to articulate what you're saying or even define it, but if you say, don't look at me, I'm going to cry, and y'all don't look at me, that means I'm being ignored. My only form of communication is to cry, and you're not going to acknowledge that for me. There's nothing to cry about at that point. My words fall on deaf ears. So do my tears. My tears are my first form of communication. My tears and my laughter are my first form of communication as a man, as a boy, as a human. My tears and my laughter are my first form of communication. And it stops by the time I learn how to talk. And we think that men are just emotionally unavailable, emotionally retarded. We're made this way. Society has to take control and has to take accountability for how they made us. You feel me? And we as black people had to take control for how we made black men. You feel me? I used to be emotionally retarded. I used to be emotionally unavailable. I used to be all that shit. Like, I had to learn, like, yo, when the tears come and shit like that, I had to solve that shit. I couldn't keep ignoring it. Like, yo, there's a response to that shit. And like I said, I study children. Like, I pay attention to their behaviors and shit, like in their actions and shit. Like, people be like, oh, I went to school for early childhood development. Fuck that. Hold on. My bad. Yo, I think that's the first time I've ever sneezed on a podcast. Oh man, salute. But I think people, damn, that sneeze and took my fucking thought away. Oh, bitch ass sneeze. Yeah, okay, but yeah, not from an early childhood development aspect, but from the aspect of actually paying attention to children. Like, I learned a lot from just watching and observing children, my nieces and my nephews. I'd be like, these little motherfuckers is really teaching me a lot of shit. Low key, they teaching me a lot of shit. Like, the way they would, I would pay attention to how they operate. It's like, yo, at what point does it stop? What point does the trend, like, we never develop, we transition. Like, you know how, like, you get something and you refine it and you, like, it's like you're supposed to get things and mature them. You feel me? When something happens, you mature it over time and it gets better and better, but it never goes away. You don't just do away with it and get something new. But that's what we try to do. You feel me? We get away from the core level of communication, laughter and crying. Because again, it ties into not understanding ourselves, our spirit, our chakras, our energies and shit. You know, shameless plug again. So Frail 3's coming. All of this is going to be in it. I'm telling you, I'm putting in some game on that shit. But we don't know how to communicate because we don't know how to cry. And this is why we always laugh at stupid shit too. But those two things go hand in hand. Which means we don't know how to deal with our traumas because we don't know how to mourn. You feel me? And then we are told what to laugh at rather than, okay, this taps into this aspect of my soul, the positive aspect of my soul. So I'm going to express myself this way. Right? These are how we communicate. We laugh to communicate. Then we learn the words to associate with the positive feeling of the laughter. It's very difficult, but it's very easy at the same time when we truly know. But we've forgotten. We don't know this shit. We can't learn this shit anymore because to learn this shit takes away from the reality of what the human experience is supposed to be or what it was at one point in time. You feel me? So looking at how our boys are, looking at how we're treating our boys and the way in which our boys are developing, what are we doing to them? You feel what I'm saying? When was the last time you cried? Now, of course, you can't remember no, I ain't even gonna say when the last time you cried. If you can recall, when did you have to stop crying? Which means now you have to look at it like this. If you can identify when you had to stop crying, then you can identify when you stop being able to communicate. Because like I said, I study the children, just watch how they move. And it's like I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? You got to go back to your roots. You got to go back to your start to figure out where you at right now. And a lot of us don't go back that far to the baby side, but listening to how babies communicate. You feel me? okay, I know that if I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna laugh. Or if I'm feeling this way, I'm gonna cry, and the need is gonna be fulfilled, right? It just suddenly stops. My needs are no longer fulfilled. So when I'm crying, it's like, yo, what are you crying for? Let me wipe my face. It's not, yo, what are you crying for? Like the way my sister's raising my niece, I love it so much. My niece got mad one day. And it's just so aligned that I'm in a space now where I wasn't gonna dismiss her. Now she would have caught the old me, the pre-woke me, or the pre-person I am now. Longer, you mad, bro? Because I hear my youngest nephew like that. You feel me? He talking about, I'm not your friend. I don't give a fuck, little nigga. Shit. I'm your uncle. So you feel me? I ain't say that to him like that, but that was the dynamic of what it was. He was like, I'm not your friend. I just ignored him. I didn't listen to his frustration. I failed as a person. I can admit that. In this one, I failed as a person because I had done something to him that undermined him, so much so that he said, I'm not your friend anymore. We forget that babies is humans, bro. So at the time, I ignored him. I said, well, fuck, little nigga. Go about your business. You'll be back. It's like, yo, that's foul. We shouldn't do that. But I'm transitioning that as I'm older. I'm talking to my niece, and she's like, I'm angry. Part of me like, so? You too young to have conditioning and shit that I've heard as a kid. Too young to have nerves. Get on you, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, why are you angry? She told me exactly what she was angry for. Valid reasons for a 4-year-old to be angry. Valid reasons for a 4-year-old to be angry. You feel me? But what do? We try to elevate them to our level. Oh, you're going to see so much more of that in life. Stop doing that. And then we wonder why we do it when we get older. You feel me? It was done to us as kids. Like when people be like, yo, I'm tired. Damn, bro, I work 12 hours. You ain't got nothing on being tired. That ain't got nothing to do with me being tired still. Where did we get that from? Man, you getting on my nerves. You too young to have nerves. You ain't got no nerves. You undermine what is happening to me. You feel what I mean? And as men, we're not even able to tap into our feelings anymore. The fuck you think that does to us? We're emotionally unavailable, emotionally retarded beings. And whose fault is that? You feel me? We think, oh, it's mommy issues, it's daddy issues. No, it's generational issues. We all in this space, bro, sis, all us, but specifically for this context, it's just bro. But that transition between being a child to, okay, be the big boy, be this, like, ask yourself, when were you ever allowed to cry? I want my brothers to really sit and think about this. When were you ever allowed to express any negative feeling? And by proxy, because you were never able to fully express the negative feelings or the negative things that affected you, it made it difficult for you to express the positive ones. You don't share your joys with people. You don't share your joys with people who didn't really acknowledge your pain. Why would you? You feel me? When you cry and you're dismissed, like that's my form of communication. Like I said, ask yourself this: would you deny a baby a bottle who's crying when you know they have the cry? The cry that they're giving you is because they're hungry. Would you deny them a bottle? No, you wouldn't. When the cry that they're giving you is for you to change them, would you deny them? No, you wouldn't. Yet, the moment, because a motherfucker can talk, but they cannot necessarily process the information because they don't have the words yet. Yo, what's wrong with you? And we'd be like, and like, can I, yeah. Why do you think it's, they're trying to process. They're frustrated. What's easier to process? What's easier to do than, what is so much easier to do than actually having to think about the words that I'm saying? Cry. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. You feel me? I think I'm going to end it on that one. Yeah, because like, look at it. Like really sit and contemplate and think about what is happening in that dynamic. That's why as men, we operate from that next level all the time. Because it's always, my frustrations are changing. The things that can bring me pain, the things that can make me tear up, the things that trigger my pain and things that trigger my joy that I can't communicate, they're still there. You feel me? When you feel the need to cry, it's because you're now responding to these negative feelings that you're dealing with. You haven't processed them. You don't know how to articulate them. But it's like suppress them because as I get older, I can't do those things anymore. You feel me? I don't know how to operate from those. No, you're supposed to understand them. Your frustrations are real. We never stop being like, people be like, yo, embrace your inner child, embrace your inner baby too. You never stop being that. You never stop being what your soul was when you was a kid, when you was a baby. None of that shit. You never stop it. You turn it off because it gets turned off. And my brothers, our shit gets extinguished like a motherfucker. This is why we be wilding. You feel me? This is why we be wilding. And in our mentality of, developing manliness or whatever the case may be, or being tough, it's like all we do is find more safety in danger. That's it. I don't say the shit that I say about, growing up in the hood and seeing the guns and fights and all that shit. It's not a glorification thing. I shouldn't have had to do that. I should not have been that safe around that type of danger. But alas, I am. So real danger doesn't shake me. You feel what I'm saying? That's a problem. Real, because like I said, pain lets you know you're in danger. Joy lets you know that you're in safety. You feel me? When you feel safe around danger, it's the fuck. You feel me? So, like, I remember I was in undergrad and shit, and me and my girlfriend at the time, we was walking to the Chinese store, restaurant and shit, and this dude was like, yo, I know I'm well aware of my surroundings, but the dude was like, yo, let me get $2. And I just kept walking. And she like, he just asked for $2 because she's not from where I'm from. She grew up in a, not necessarily a gated community, but a well-established community and shit. Like, you don't know what the fuck he's doing. So she's like, yo, he just want $2. You got $2. Dumbass, why did you say it out loud? I'm like, look, just keep walking. I'm like, he don't want $2. He only asked for $2. Just give him $2. I'm like, it's not $2. Just keep walking. Whatever the case may be. As we got a little farther, she's trying to get an attitude. That's fucked up. You could have gave him pow, 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 pow. Start shooting in the air. Is he shooting at us? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. But he wasn't shooting at us. He shot in the air, but it was a message towards us. You feel me? So we in a Chinese restaurant, and she's nervous. She's shaking and shit. She's like, how are you so calm? Because I knew it was going to happen. How did you know? That's why I told you don't say nothing. He shot in the air because I denied him the $2. It was a robbery. He knew. I knew. When you said the money out loud, you got $2. Like, now he knows what I have. Now he's going to take, like, I'm not a lick. I said, you have to learn how to maneuver in this game. We went to a HBCU. Most HBCUs are in the projects. They in the hood. So it was comfortable for me. I've learned how to be safe in danger. And if I'm not around danger, I don't feel safe. Ain't that some shit? That's crazy as hell. If I'm not around danger, I don't feel safe. I need a little bit of danger. I just need to know that some shit could pop off for me to know I'm good. If it's not, I'm paranoid in a motherfucker because it's like, I don't know what kind of danger could come. You feel what I mean? If I'm in a space where I can't anticipate the danger, I'm not safe. You feel me? So anyway, so as our food gets ready and shit, she's like, can we eat here? I said, nah, let's walk back. Nah, we're gonna walk back. I don't feel comfortable walking. I said, you good? He gone. You feel me? She was like, how you know? Because ain't nobody gonna shoot in the air and not. So I was like, we'll walk a different way. But we walked back to campus right then. She was like, wow, I didn't know. I'm like, yeah, I'm not a hood dude by, you know what I mean? Like, by accident. I don't just, you know what I'm saying? I'm really like that. I'm not a hood dude who stayed in the hood. I made it out of this motherfucker, but I came, like, I like staying dangerous. A lot of my brothers like that shit. Because it's the only thing that helped us stop crying when we were kids. Finding safety in our danger. But in addition to that, finding safety in our danger, but not being able to articulate our pains. You feel me? Because we always have to operate for the next level. So it's Go ahead and go to the next level of danger and be safe in it. Go to the next level of danger, be safe in it. You feel what I mean? And that's what makes us manly. That's what makes us quote unquote men. It's not. We're ticking time bombs. You feel me? Yeah, it feels good to be at peace to know that the motherfucker can look at me and know they shouldn't fuck with me. Oh, you look like you gonna smack a motherfucker if he crazy. Like, I'm really not, bro. I'm thinking about cartoons right now, bro. Like, I'm really on some positive shit, bro. Like, in my head, I'm smiling. You feel what I'm saying? In my head, I'm having a good moment. But I just gotten so conditioned to finding safety and danger that this is what it is. You feel me? This is what it is. And that's a scary feeling. That's a scary place to be. And one thing we don't do as brothers is talk about it enough to say, yo, bro, this is why we uptight. A lot of us has found so much safety and fucking danger that it's crazy. Especially us from the hood. You feel me? Especially us from those areas and shit, poverty-stricken areas and shit. We had to survive. I understand why motherfuckers fear that shit. Like, I get it. I get why motherfuckers are scared of us. I don't give them a pass for being scared of us, but I get why motherfuckers are scared of us. Hell, so I be scared of us sometimes. You feel me? I be scared of the ones, and let me tell you what I be scared of. I be scared of the ones who push the envelope forward from the levels that I had seen. You feel what I'm saying? Because it can only progress. It can only get more progressive. Younger, faster, you see what I'm saying? Sharper, keener. It can only get more progressive with it. You feel me? I know how fearless I was. I know how dangerous I was. I know how all of these things, like, I get scared because I know the young boys are that much worse. You feel me? I know they that much worse. It's like, because they watched us. Man, it broke my heart when I was in 2016, I want to say, because I was in a business or whatever. This little kid, he was like 19 years old when he got killed, bro. And it hit home because I used to watch this little nigga. Like, when I say watch him, like, he lived around the corner from me. Like, when they used to come outside, we used to have little kids, you know what I mean? Like, hey, what's up? Like, we were the big homies. We were 16, 17 years old. They like 9, 10, 11. You feel me? And it's like watching them, you know what I'm saying? They used to lean with it, rock with it. I used to watch this little nigga do the snap dance and shit. And he used to do the Fabo where he pick his leg up and dust his shoe off. Shit was fucking amazing. But they was watching us. They was watching the fights we was getting in. They was watching the stupid shit we was doing. And we didn't know that they was watching us. You dig what I mean? We didn't know that they was watching us. And to find out, like, when he died at 19 years old, it's like, yo, you died in the life that you saw us doing. The stupid shit you saw us doing. We made you think it was cool. We made you think it was okay. So whereas our beef, like I said, this is about pushing the envelope. So whereas our shit was fighting, getting to the point where, for my generation, it was like, if you got beat up on a one-on-one, you got jumped. That was it. Like, I grew up in that era. Feel me? Their era was, if you get beat up on a one-on-one, you get shot. Damn. You feel me? So it's in that aspect, we always get programmed to do that shit, be on the next level. These little kids are 9 and 10 years old while I was like 16, 17 years old. And I was planting seeds in them to be, this is what tough is. This is what the big man is. And this is what it is to be a man and shit. Like, and I looked at him at 6. I was like, yo, bro, you like I was when I was that age. To a T. The way he dressed, the way I said, damn, part of me feels guilty. Survivor's guilt. Because like, at that age, could I have done something different for him? Could I have, like, possibly poured more into him? I didn't know any more to pour into him. So that's how I absolved myself with that. I only knew what I knew. And I only knew what I had been programmed into. You feel me? By that age, I wasn't processing my feelings. By that age, I wasn't knowing shit about shit. Surviving, bro, was learning how to be safe around danger. It was learning how to be fucking safe around danger, my nigga. That shit's crazy. That shit's crazy. It's disheartening because it's like we're programmed for this at a young age. My brothers, a lot of women, you want the protector and the provider, but I don't think you really understand the burden that it puts on us. Now, I'm not saying don't be a protector and a provider. I'm all for it, 100% be that. But you have to understand our perspective when it comes to protection and provision. We coming from a space of finding safety in danger. How do I protect you? Like, that's my world. That's my world. So I gotta really fuck with you 100% and know that you down for me to be even able to do no shit. Because I understand the dangers and shit that I had to face. I understand the dangers that affect me. I know they're 10 times worse for you. Because by proxy, you affiliated with me. So now I got dual nature to live with. But now it's like, what happens with that cat? So now I'm gonna add one little piece and I'm gonna start to wrap it up. You feel me? Because when we start off as babies, we learn to talk, we learn to walk, and then our communication faculties get shut down and the crying stops. We're not able to have that connection with crying and all of that shit so we can actually fully articulate how we feel. And we're always taught to go to the next level. Each time is about turning something off. Then when we actually become men, we join religions. And then we put everything down. So not only do we not turn, so it goes from a point where we start off not being able to fully articulate what we're saying. You feel me? Then we go to the next level to where we just, like I said, find safety in danger. And then we move to a level where, okay, I'm going to no longer be accountable and responsible for my shit no more. Those are the levels of a man. Those are the levels of men. Like just sit and process that. If you look at the levels that people have defined as a man, it goes like that. The boy stage where you just operate for the next level. You feel me? Then the teenage grown man stage where you learn to find safety and danger. Then the final stage when you give up all accountability and responsibility to something else. That's it. That's it. And so over time, what does that do to the culture? What does that do to the shift? Like, I don't care what the previous generations have done. They failed. Fuck them. It is what it is. But what we got to start doing with our boys is as they're developing, let them cry, but teach them, find out what they're crying for. See, this is where it comes into parenting because now you're going to have patience. You're going to have understanding. You're going to have to start teaching them how to use better words to articulate. You feel me? Motherfuckers be like, oh, my baby's so smart, they can sing the ABC song. No, nigga, they can sing the ABC song. Can they identify the letter B? Motherfucker. Motherfuckers be so happy. Oh, my baby can sing it. My baby know their ABCs. Baby, sing your ABCs. ABC. They just know how to sing a fucking song. They don't know their ABCs. Go identify the motherfuckers. But that's where you're supposed to be able to get to that point where you can teach the child how to articulate their words. Their frustration stop. They cry less when they can articulate the direction that they need to go. You feel what I'm saying? But we shut it down. I'm going to give you something to cry for. Go fix your face, blah, 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 blah. That shit's dead, bro. We ain't doing that shit no more. That shit's dead. For real. It don't work. It don't work. You know what I'm saying? We got a generation of motherfuckers say, I was raised like that and I turned out fine. No, the fuck, you didn't. That's why your relationships don't work. That's why you're an unhealthy communicator and you volatile and you shut down quick. It worked for you. Yeah, right. You are not a functioning member of society. But yeah, my brothers, this is something that we gotta address for our homies, for our youth and shit like that, because this is our issue. This is our issue. We can no longer be in a point where we dilute our sons and, oh, I'm baby and you this, that, and the third. No. He needs to be able to learn how to feel that. Like I said, if you're not willing to shut him off when he cries because he's hungry as a baby, if you're not willing to cut him off, and it's like, because then you're going to start to see that his tears are an examples of his communication. That's his first form of communication. You have to figure out the communication. The tears are the initial response to the communication. Within there, you have to help him decipher the words for the communication to speak. The tears stop the more he talks. I don't think people really pay attention to that shit. That's how therapy fucking works. Think about the shit. Motherfuckers break down crying. I used to experience it all the time. Women will cry to me, and then it's like I just talk to them. Which is literally, I was like, I let them talk, and then the tears stop, and oh my gosh, I feel so full and so empty. You just helped me so much. I know. I guided you from the point. The initial trigger, the initial response was the response to the pain. Your soul released that burden. You started mourning instantly. Now we're talking about it. You're actually processing what it is that triggered that. Men don't have that. We can't do that shit. Black men, we don't get that privilege of doing that shit, but we gotta make ourselves have the privilege to do the shit. It's that simple. Ain't no more of this dumb shit, bro. Like, you feel me? And you don't have to articulate, yo, I I cry, but I still punch in the mouth. Nah. It ain't gotta, you don't even need to know the still punch in the mouth part. Fuck with me for crying. Like, Jingle, see what's up. You feel what I mean? And we do that and we get lost in the sauce. You feel me? My bad. It's a loud ass airplane going over and shit. Damn, you really gotta be this low, nigga, for this long? Shit. But anywho, all right, yeah, because I guess that's the signal to wrap this motherfucker up. Damn, nigga, how fucking long is this airplane flying? Is that bitch just hovering and shit? All right, fuck it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this and wrap this shit up. But yeah, my brothers, it's on us to teach our sons this shit, to take this into our capacities and shit. Because what's happening is you take the man out of the home and you feel me, or you just leave him to the, like, the women. And I didn't mention this throughout the whole podcast, and I didn't think to, because this ain't for y'all. This ain't for the women this time. But the sisters and shit, you feel me? When they just let the boys cry, let them, like, nah, because you not teaching them what to cry for. You just letting the motherfucker, and this now creates the emotionally retarded motherfucker too, in a different dynamic. This creates the motherfucker who just cries. Like, you now you don't even know how to process your community. Like, it goes back to a regressive state. You, like I said, you either get to a point where you advance too far off, or you don't advance at all. Because now I'm in a regressive state where I just want to cry. Oh baby, just cry. No, there is no just cry. What are you crying for? What hurt you? Where does it hurt? Why do you feel this way? What happened? Express everything that you're saying. Process this shit. You feel me? So that way we can grow up and we could just stop finding safety in the danger of the shit that, of the level that we in. You feel what I mean? This shit's gotta stop. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Um, yeah, make sure you kiss your babies. Wait, how do I say this shit? Damn, I'm still getting back used to this. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And our sons, just take this nugget. I'm not telling you how to raise your babies because I don't have kids myself, but I had to prepare to be a father before I became a father. So these are little things that I've learned along the way, and I started to pick up so I can implement them in the moment. I don't want to have to be figuring anything out. I'm granted there's still things that I'm gonna have to learn, but for the core of a lot of shit, I think I'm gonna be solid when I get ready to have something. But you feel me? And again, I'm not a father, but at the same time, when that transition happens between our children, like, I get how we were brought up, I get how the culture works. This shit don't work no more. We have to start listening to the communication, because those are the first two forms of communication from children: laughter and crying. That shit don't stop. It doesn't just turn off because they can talk now. You now have to find a way to filter and to buffer and develop the words to be able to use to communicate the individual crying. You feel me? You feel me? Rather than crying, like, if you notice, when a motherfucker says I'm hungry, they don't cry anymore. Nobody will ever shed a tear before they're hungry. Why? Because they don't have to anymore. Because now they know the exact word template and the word base that thoroughly articulate, I'm hungry. If they don't eat in a certain amount of time, they get hangry. They get angry, because now it ties back into the emotional side from the child. When you don't get a certain thing, the feeling has to respond. You know what I'm saying? The way it has to come out responds. So for our boys, we need to, in that transitional phase, when they're walking and talking and learning again, do not shut down their crying. But now we have to learn how to be patient, teach them how to articulate their words. That's our job to do as men. Analysis and deconstruction, articulation of words, that's our breakdown. That's our breakdown. We have to be able to do that and allow them to stay in the space to develop before going to the next level. Let them be a toddler as a toddler. Let them be a big boy as a big boy. They don't need to be a toddler. Don't need a big boy in a toddler's body. They don't need to be a young man in a big boy's body. They don't need to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, we got to let that shit rock so they can develop and mature correctly. You feel what I'm saying? Learn how to vent their frustrations. Learn how to deal with their emotions and feelings correctly. Otherwise, we're going to just have a lot of motherfuckers who learn how to they don't know how to find safety in danger. And that's not cool. Because then when we had those relationships where it's volatile, why you still with her? Because she dangerous and I'm safe. That's toxic. Don't nobody want no shit like that. You feel me? But again, I'm gonna end it with that. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm gonna see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.